For some people, the feeling of security has a very specific texture. It's not a grand emotion, it's not loud, it's the quiet click of a savings account app opening. It's the number on the screen, steady, unchanged, or better yet, slightly grown. It's the physical sensation of a deep, slow breath they didn't even realize they were holding, finally released. While the world often talks about the thrill of the purchase, the rush of a new thing, the immediate gratification, this story is about a different kind of pulse, a calmer one. It's about the person who walks through a bustling mall and feels not temptation, but a kind of serene detachment. The noise of consumption fades into background static. For them, the real comfort isn't on the shelves. It's in the preservation of what they already have. Think of it like this. Imagine two gardens. One person finds joy in constantly planting new, colorful flowers, in the burst of new life. The other person finds a deeper satisfaction in tending to the soil, in ensuring the fence is strong, in knowing the water supply is secure. The pleasure is in the maintenance, in the certainty that the garden will withstand a storm. Saving money is that act of tending. It's not about hoarding for a distant, vague future. It's about the immediate, tangible sense of order it creates in the present. This isn't just about discipline or being good with numbers. It's psychological. For this person, a growing savings balance does something inside their nervous system. It regulates. It soothes. Where a bank statement might be a source of anxiety for others, for them, it's a dashboard of calm. Each dollar saved is a unit of predictability in an unpredictable world. It's a small brick in a wall they are building between themselves and chaos. The behavior is quiet, often private. There's no celebration when they transfer money to savings. No one applauds. The reward is entirely internal, a flicker of relief, a softening of the shoulders, a night of slightly deeper sleep. It's the opposite of a dopamine spike. It's the steady hum of serotonin, the chemistry of safety. If you recognize this feeling, if the idea of preserving feels more natural to you than acquiring, you're not alone. This channel explores these quiet corners of human psychology. Consider subscribing and maybe leaving a comment below. Does saving money feel more like a duty to you, or more like a genuine comfort? The key to understanding this psychology is to look past the money itself. The money is just the tool, the most measurable metric. What's really being saved is a feeling of autonomy, of having a say in your own life when external forces seem so large and uncontrollable. For the person who loves to save, a full savings account isn't just a financial tool, it's a psychological anchor, and that need for an anchor can come from two very different places. One source of this behavior is a place of clear-eyed self-knowledge. It's a choice made from a position of strength, not fear. Imagine someone who has taken a long, honest look at their own nature, at the rhythms of their life, and has made a conscious decision. This person understands that external stimulations, new clothes, the latest gadget, expensive nights out, provide only a fleeting buzz. The come down, the clutter, the credit card statement, those bring a subtle kind of exhaustion. They've learned through simple observation that the brief high of spending is often followed by a longer, lower feeling of depletion. Not just financially, but emotionally. So they opt out, not with resentment, but with relief. Saving becomes an act of self-care. It's the financial equivalent of choosing a home-cooked meal over fast food or a quiet walk over a crowded party. It aligns with their deeper values of simplicity, sustainability, and peace. The pleasure is in the alignment itself, in the feeling that their actions match their true desires. They might set a goal, a year of travel, a down payment on a small home, the freedom to work less. The savings account is the visible progress bar for that dream. Every deposit is a step closer. The control they feel isn't restrictive, it's liberating. It's the control of a captain deliberately plotting a course, not of someone clinging to the deck in a storm. Their relationship with money is calm, almost respectful. They don't battle with it, they don't feel tempted by it. They see it as a resource to be managed wisely, like time or energy, a tool for building a life that feels authentic to them. The act of saving is proactive. It's about moving towards something. Independence, a specific dream, a simpler existence. You can see it in their demeanor. There's no tension when a friend suggests an expensive outing. They can easily say, "I'll pass this time," without guilt or a long justification. The money in the bank represents options, and that knowledge gives them a quiet confidence. They are not saying no to an experience. They are saying yes to their own plan. This is saving as a form of mindfulness. It's intentional. The person is fully present to the trade-off. this momentary purchase versus that long-term security, and they consistently choose the security, not because they have to, but because it genuinely feels better. The saved money is a testament to their self-awareness. It's proof that they understand what truly brings them contentment, and they have the patience to cultivate it. This psychology is rooted in a fundamental trust in oneself and in the process. The future isn't a scary unknown to be barricaded against. It's a canvas they are patiently preparing to paint. The savings are the brushes and the paint. The act of saving is, itself, the first creative stroke. But the same behavior, the same act of transferring money to savings, can spring from a completely different psychological soil. This one is not about moving toward a dream, but about guarding against a memory. Here, saving is not a choice born of peace. It's a reflex born of past instability. For this person, the world has already proven itself to be unpredictable. It might have been in childhood, the tense silence when bills arrived, the overheard arguments about money, the feeling of lack that was never spoken but always felt in the air. Or it might have been a personal crisis in adulthood, a job loss suddenly, a medical emergency, a period of having nothing to fall back on. The body remembers that feeling. The gut remembers the free fall. So now, saving money is not about pleasure, it's about prevention. It's hyper-vigilance translated into numbers. Every potential expense is scanned for threat. A $50 dinner out isn't just $50. It's a tiny fracture in the protective wall. Spending doesn't feel like a release. It feels like a risk, a small, controlled leak in a boat they are desperately trying to keep afloat. The relief they feel when they save is the relief of someone who has just checked the locks on all the doors. Again, it's the cessation of a low-grade alarm that is always humming in the background. The savings account isn't a progress bar, it's a moat. The deeper it is, the safer they feel from the dragons of chaos that they know, for a fact, are real and waiting. This creates a different kind of tension. The person might still say no to outings, but it's not a calm refusal. It's a flinch. The thought of spending activates a physical response, a tightness in the chest, a quickening of the pulse. The money in the bank is not about future options. It's about surviving a future catastrophe. The goal isn't to reach a number. It's to never ever see the number fall to zero. Their inner dialogue isn't about value or dreams. It's about safety. If I buy this, and then something happens, I won't be ready. The fear isn't of missing out on an experience. The fear is of being exposed, vulnerable, helpless, states they have known before and are determined to never experience again. In this psychology, control is not liberating. It's exhausting. It's a full-time job of managing anxiety through financial vigilance. The saved money is a security blanket, and the thought of it fraying is terrifying. The behavior looks identical from the outside, the growing balance, the frugal habits, but the internal weather is completely different. It's not a sunny, open field of intention. It's a well-fortified room, and the person inside is listening for footsteps. Whether it springs from awareness or from anxiety, the behavior makes perfect emotional sense. The brain is a pattern-making machine, and it will repeat whatever action successfully regulates an intense feeling. For the person who saves from a place of past scarcity, the act of saving literally turned down the volume on fear. It worked. So the brain learns. Saving equals safety. It becomes the default setting, the go-to solution for any whisper of unease. This is why simple advice like, just treat yourself or money is meant to be spent, falls on deaf ears. It misunderstands the function. You're not asking someone to make a small purchase. You're asking them to disable their alarm system. To them, spending doesn't feel like a treat. It feels like willfully creating a vulnerability. The guilt that follows a purchase isn't about morality. It's about the reactivation of that old, familiar alert. It's the brain screaming, "You let your guard down." The love of saving, in this context, is a deep and committed relationship with predictability. In a life that has felt chaotic, the savings account is one of the few things that behaves in a reliable, linear way. You put money in, the number goes up. It obeys the rules. It doesn't betray you. It doesn't disappear overnight. This reliability is a powerful antidote to a history of unpredictability. It's a world they can finally control, even if it's just a digital number on a screen. This emotional logic extends to a sense of self-worth. For some, their accumulated savings become a measure of their responsibility, their goodness. A high balance means, I am competent, I am prepared, I am not a burden. It's a tangible report card that says they have overcome or at least manage the instability they once knew. To diminish that balance feels like erasing that proof, like sliding back into a version of themselves they are ashamed of. So the person might live well below their means, not out of necessity, but out of this deep-seated emotional arithmetic. The gap between their income and their spending isn't just savings. It's a buffer zone, a psychological safety margin. The wider the gap, the deeper they can breathe. The thought of closing that gap, of spending what they earn, feels dangerously like living on the edge, with no net below. Even if the net is far larger than they logically need, its presence is non-negotiable. Understanding this is key. The behavior isn't irrational. It's hyper-rational within the context of their emotional history. The brain and body have learned that financial accumulation equals survival. Unlearning that requires more than a budget. It requires building a new, visceral sense of safety that isn't solely tied to a bank balance. It requires the nervous system to learn a new truth, that you are safe, even when the number isn't astronomically high. Most people don't fall neatly into one category or the other. They exist on a spectrum between awareness and anxiety. Their love of saving is a mix. There are days when it feels like a wise, empowering choice, and other moments when it feels like a compulsive need. The same person can look at their savings with pride on a Tuesday and with a sense of desperate clinging on a Friday. The question isn't really, are you a saver or a spender? The more useful question is, what is the quality of the feeling when you save? Is it a light, forward-moving satisfaction? Or is it a heavy, relief from dread kind of satisfaction? Does saving open doors in your mind, or does it primarily close them, locking potential threats away? You can notice it in the small moments. When you bypass a coffee from your favorite shop, what's the inner voice like? Is it calm and content? I have coffee at home, and I'm happy putting that money toward my trip. Or is it sharp and vigilant? No, that's $5. You don't need it. What if you need that $5 later for something important? The action is identical. The emotional fingerprint is completely different. This is where self-reflection becomes important, not to judge the behavior, but to understand its source. Because the source determines the cost. Saving from a place of awareness has a low psychological cost. It feels integrated. Saving from a place of chronic fear has a high cost. It can lead to missing out on experiences that genuinely matter, to a constant background hum of stress, to relationships strained by an inability to ever relax financial control. The goal isn't to stop saving. For this psychology, that idea is terrifying and unhelpful. The goal is to examine the relationship, to ask, does my savings account serve me, or do I serve it? Is it a tool for my life, or is my life organized around its maintenance? For someone recognizing the anxious pattern, a small step might be to allocate a tiny, non-negotiable amount for guilt-free spending, $10 a month. The point isn't the purchase, the point is the practice. The practice of tolerating the small spike of anxiety, of breathing through it, and of learning that the world does not collapse when the number dips by a trivial amount. It's a gentle rewiring, a message to the nervous system. We are safe, even when we are not perfectly fortified. It's about moving the savings habit slowly from the category of survival reflex closer to the category of conscious choice, to introduce a sliver of the awareness into the anxiety, to remember that while money can be a safety net, it shouldn't be the entire floor you stand on. At its core, the love of saving money is about a search for stability. That need is universal. We all want ground beneath our feet. For some, that ground is built with experiences, relationships, or faith. For the person in this story, that ground is built quite literally with financial margin. It's their most tangible proof that they can weather a storm. The psychology reveals a fundamental truth. We all manage our inner chaos with the tools we have. Some people use spending to distract from it, to fill a void with newness. Others use saving to contain it, to build a structure so solid the chaos can't get in. Neither is inherently right or wrong. They are different strategies for the same human problem: how to feel secure in an insecure world. Recognizing this can soften the judgment, both from the outside and from within. The so-called stingy person is often just a person who has found a way to quiet their anxiety. The frugal person is often someone who has discovered that their peace is not for sale in a store. The behavior is a symptom of a deeper relationship with safety, control, and predictability. So what's the takeaway? It's not about changing your bank balance. It's about inquiring into your emotional balance. When you transfer that money, what are you truly depositing? Is it hope for a dream, or is it a payment against a fear? Is your savings account a seed vault for the future you want to grow, Or is it a bunker stocked for a siege you hope never comes? There's dignity in both answers. The first is a path of intentional creation. The second is a path of brave self-protection from past wounds. Often, it's a mixture. The most powerful step is simply to see it clearly, to acknowledge, this is why I do this. This is the need I am meeting. When you understand that, the behavior loses its power to be an automatic, unconscious driver. It becomes something you can observe and perhaps gently guide. You can choose to save, not just because you're afraid, but because you value the freedom it brings. You can learn to spend, not recklessly, but selectively, on things that add real texture to your life without triggering that old panic. The love of saving money, in its healthiest form, is a love of having a say in your own story. It's the quiet empowerment of knowing you have resources, both financial and internal. It's the understanding that while you can't control the world, you can cultivate a small, well-tended plot of ground that is entirely your own. And in that plot, you can find a peace that is deeper than any number. If these reflections on our inner landscapes resonate with you, we explore them regularly here. For more stories that look into the psychology behind our everyday choices, consider subscribing to the channel and tapping the bell. It helps us keep creating content that aims to understand, not just instruct. Thanks for watching.